What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be giving you guys a tournament report as well as a special feature for the Learning from Your Losses series. I think this is going to be more focused and geared towards understanding and playing around factors that are outside of your control and how to especially not get tilted in a huge tournament setting, or how to not feel pressure, especially playing in a very big tournament like this. I think those are really important topics to cover, as well as to show you guys the deck list that I played. But I think the main focus of today's conversation will be pretty much how do you play, I guess, around your own emotions. Funny enough, right? Because I think a lot of people get really tilted and make a lot of really huge misplays. And I guess today's video will be focused on that, keeping a strong mental through these long, arduous, multiple rounds tournament. So I guess we'll first start off with the tournament report in terms of what I played. So round 1 was against Plunder, and I won the dice roll there, and I went 2-1. But it'll be really important for you to see what game 3 looked like. A lot of these games I played were not easy. My opponent opens up Token Collector, Nibiru, Phantasme, and then it's Droplet as well on top of a Bluebeard, right? So in all these situations, my opponent would open up 3 hand traps when they're going second. And I think it's important to know that a lot of people will get really tilted here. They'll be like, oh my goodness, this is just so unfair, I'm getting sacked, this is just crazy. But I think it's really important to keep a calm collective, even though you get hand trapped or you get punished because they drew so broken. I still won this match. It was a really crazy game, very close. So shout out to Bruce. It was just huge fun, I guess, round 1 for me. And then round 2 was in the Infernoble. I lost the dice roll here, and I was 2-1. I actually beat him going second game 1, and then game 2 I lost, and then game 3 he opened up Imperm, Ash, Nibiru, and then Dark Ruler. So I mean, there's not much you can do against that hand, and I easily could have gotten tilted, but to be fair, I just kept a calm collective. And this is kind of what I was trying to show, that you're gonna lose to variance, and it's really important to understand that it's I'd rather lose to my opponent I'd rather lose to my opponent drawing really insane rather than lose because I misplayed. And I think that's are two very big distinctions. Losing to your opponent drawing 3 hand traps in a 50 card deck is around a 2% chance of an opening hand. That's a 2% chance of an opening hand of an Imperm, Ash, and Nibiru with a Dark Ruler. That's a very low percent chance. And the variance was on his side today, and I guess sometimes that happens, right? I think you just have to accept that there are factors that are outside your control, and when you look at it from that perspective, it's easier to not get tilted. And that's why if you guys watch me this past weekend on stream at twitch.tv/pack_official_tcg, you would have noticed that even though I lost to this, I was still very composed, and I just brushed it off and kept playing. Next, round 3, you'll see that against a Salad matchup, my opponent opens up double Imperm, which is a 1.64% chance of happening in a 40 card deck. You can run that math yourself in Yugioh Party, and this is more examples of how I've just been absolutely sacked this tournament, and that's okay in the sense that as long as you played optimally, right? It's okay to lose to variance and sack. It's, I guess, because at the end of the day, you control what you can, and I think that's what, I said before, today's focus is. Next we have round 4, which is against Invoke Dogma. I lost the dice, but I 2-0'd that match. You have the Infernoble Mirror. I lost the dice. I got 2-1'd. And then, oh no, I lost the dice against Infernoble Mirror, and I actually won the tournament. I actually won that match. And it's just because I knew he just couldn't full combo me, or he wasn't, even though I had no interruptions in my hand. I drew no hand traps, and his end board was just Charles, Savage with Roland. That was his full end board with no disruption. You can see that match yourself, which I'll show you right here. Oops, sorry. It's gonna be right here. So and then this is really important, because like I said, man, a lot of people here would have gotten tilted that they lost the dice roll to the Infernoble match, in the mirror match. Losing the dice roll in the mirror would easily get you tilted, right? I actually lost at this point in time by round 5. I've lost 4 dice rolls and I only won 1 dice. And so a lot of people would get tilted, but I decided not to be, and still play it out, right? Like, and that's what's really important, that you can still like, as long as you keep a calm mental, you can still do really well regardless of like the circumstances you're faced, right? And so you'll see here that like this is like he's gonna like, you know, combo off, make like a bunch of plays, and I'm gonna like do my best to like break the board, even though I drew no hand traps, which I sided in total of 9, by the way, which has a 74.18% chance of opening in a 40 card deck, which is crazy because like the logic of me dropping down to a 40 card list was so that I can see my hand traps, but I just didn't see it. And I guess like this tournament report is to show you that, like, you know, variance is sometimes not on your side, but you play the best you can, and that's like the most important thing, that even though variance is not on your side, you still have to like play it as optimally as possible, and then not let I guess these factors like tilt you. And like this is how you're gonna see me like literally like I broke the whole board, and actually won the game off this, which is like kind of insane. Like I got some of my own variants, which is like you're gonna see here that I actually drew the gear freed off of like the formula, but you know, sometimes variance is on your side, and then you can come back from these like crazy situations. But even if I like didn't hit the gear freed, I was still in a commanding position, just because I was actually able to play through like those disruption, because he just didn't set up a big enough board for me to like have no way to play. And so like this is what, like, off playing through 2 disruption, I ended on like this type of board, right? And so I guess like the point of the video here is to show that, you know, even though like you don't open, you don't necessarily have to scoop, because a lot of people would have seen full combo and just scoop, and just because they're like they're so mad, like so tilted, like they're molding, but that's like still okay. And so, and then round 6, which was the last round of day 1, I played against Dinos Go Second, and that was like the second dice where I won out of day 1. So I had a 33% chance, or 33% RPS win record, and he was a Go Second Dino list, so he was already like planning to go second, and I won that match. And so in order to make it day 2, you needed to go at least X2. And so like even though I started off round 3 with a 1-2 record, I was able to win out from 4, 5, and 6, and then keep the dream alive just because I wasn't tilted, right? And that's what's really important to like keep in mind, like not get tilted. Round 7 was against Elixon, and I mean there's not much you can do at that point. My opponent, you know, we took it all the way to game 3, and he opened up IO. I couldn't play around the Imperial Order, and I looked in all the game situation. I thought it opened up really well, but because he had the Imperial Order for Lightning Storm, as well as he striked the red layer, I had no out to Inspector Border, but you know, I kept playing it out, and I ran through all the situations and the scenarios in my head. So just before you comment, guys, just make sure that you actually, you know, looked at the situation before you comment saying, "Oh, Pac, you could have done this, this, and this." I've looked at all the situations already, and there was no way for me to actually win, because he top decked the Solemn Strike, a second one. In this like simplified game state, I impermed him on the border. Like you'll see here that I go like normal summon Dolphin. I pitch DDR just so that I can have a gear freed special. And I actually go off with like red layer first, because what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make Isolde and then force him to use his back row on the Isolde. So you'll see me actually use Isolde. It gets Solemn Strike. I now can summon gear freed. I can attack and equip it, and then essentially at this point, he's like down a lot of resources, but because he has the Golden Lord, he can basically out my gear free. So it had to be specifically Golden Lord. If I started off with banishing gear free to summon, I didn't have an equip, so I needed to use Dolphin first. So if I summon this, it gets striked and reborn this, I still wouldn't have killed him, because he would have taken 1,000 damage from gear freed, and then taken another 600 from Dolphin. So he actually would have been at, so he was at 2200, took 600 damage, took 1,000 damage, and that would have been 1600. But because he has at 600 life points, his IO would have it had to be exactly 700 for IO to like kill him. So it was in that situation that IO couldn't even kill him, and he would actually go to the graveyard, so he would actually get a free imperm draw, or free extravagance draw, which, you know, at this point you'll see that he'll actually just win the game here. and I just can't do anything. And it's one of those situations that my opponent just opened up nuts, and then day 2 pretty much ended there, because after going X3 by this round, I pretty much dropped out of the tournament. But at the end of the day, I still was able to make it day 2, like I said before, and keep the dream alive. And that's something that's really, really important, right? Like the idea that, like, you know, you play the best you could, you play as optimally as you could, but there's still some things that you can't control. So definitely don't get tilted, guys. And if you do, try to, like, I guess hopefully, like, think back to this video, and hopefully this will, like, help you, you know, keep a calm composure, even through, like, some of the sackiest things your opponent might have, right? Because we are in a very sacky format. Like, your opponent can have, like, the nuts, and there's just not much you can do. And so this is actually the deck list that I actually played for this past weekend. If you guys are interested in seeing this right here, even though I didn't, you know, like, top the event, I still think this deck list was really, really good. I think I ran the numbers for a lot of, like, my card choices, and I was really, really comfortable with this list. It was honestly one of the most consistent lists I've ever seen. Almost every hand I drew was either Neospace Connector or Dolphin, and then I had a Rhoda to back it up on top of that. It was a very, very consistent list. And, like, the whole premise of this deck was to ensure that, like, when I go first, I wanted to open up combo every single time. Like, I didn't want to open up hand traps. Like here, I just randomized my hand. You see I open up Rhoda. That's a Neospace Connector right there. Here I open up Cold Wing, but that's okay because we have the Armageddon Knight. We also had a Living Fossil to extend with a tuner, so that we were still fine, and play through an interruption right there. Open up Neospace, open up Gearfried, you know, Neospace, Rhoda. You see right here that these hands are, like, just absurdly broken. You have Reynolds, Oliver, Durando, which is, like, the Trinity, because you get Ogier, and that's, like, the Trinity hand. You also have DDR. Here you get, here you have Durando, which is kind of bad because you actually bricked here because you had double Gearfried, and then you can't really play. If you're going second, you have the Fire Flint with the Gearfried, and Durando you have a Gamma. So it just depends whether or not you went first or second. And so, like, I guess the point here of the deck list was, I think this was, like, one of the most consistent versions of this list, and I only played my hand trap of choice would be Gamma, just because I felt it was the most impactful hand trap, and most of these decks can already play through, like, so much. So I figured that I want to just have a small chance of drawing the Gamma, which is 33%, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So there's still some variance that I have some chance to win going second, even if they win the dice roll. And so, like, I guess I'll just walk you through, like, the card choices, like the Arma Knight because of the Plague Spreader. You could choose to play double Cold Wing, but I feel that the Armageddon Knight basically always guarantees that, like, even if you draw, like, a Cold Wing, you can put it back. I know double Cold Wing is, like, a 1.3% chance, but, you know, that can still happen. But with Arma Knight, you're always guaranteed to put, like, the Cold Wing back. So that's, like, really, really powerful as well. The next thing is, essentially, you have the Despot 001. You have the Fire Flint Lady. I decided the Despot 01 is just for the combo piece. The Fire Flint Lady is just one extender. I decided I didn't really want to play this more than one, just because the only use this really had was to special summon an armor from the hand, and you have basically 6 other copies. So I didn't really want to max out on this. Double Gearfried because I wanted to be able to summon one and then search the second one at end phase. So I just wanted to have, like, a Gearfried in surplus, so that if they somehow out the first one, I can have a second one up for the grind game situation. And the second one actually won me the plunder match. Double Renaud, Ogier, 2 Oliver. I used to advocate for 3 Oliver, and I think I should have definitely played 3 Oliver. I decided to play 2 and just bumped up the Dolphin count to up. The reason being that I wanted to have these be, like, my main normal summons, and essentially, like, Oliver, which I basically went from 9 copies of Oliver to, like, 9 copies of Oliver to 8 copies of Oliver, and, like, that didn't really reduce the consistency of me seeing it, so I was, like, kind of okay bumping it down. But I definitely would bump this back up to 3, and I'll actually show you guys. I have a Infernoble LCS list 2.0, which kind of, like, made some of the updates that I was, like, kind of looking forward to after, like, building this list. The Cold Wing for the combo, the Neospace engine, double Dolphin this time because I think looking at your opponent's hand is so broken. The reason why I didn't play 3 Dolphin is because it was searchable off of like connector. So like I wanted to play the second one just because if you hard open it, it's okay. And if you hard open it with connector, you can actually do a really cool combo where you go connector, summon this Dolphin from the deck, Dolphin pitch the Dolphin from the hand, then Neospace effect, summon the Dolphin you just pitch back from the graveyard. Then you play the Plague Spreader zombie just because we're playing double Dolphin. If you were to open up Plague Spreader, you can just dump it and it makes the Cult Wing less bricky. You have the Gamma package, the Genba, and then I think the MVP of the deck, Super Quantum Red Layer. This card is really good because it can out-window with a Phoenix Blade equipped. It makes it so that your Dolphin effect is more advantageous and like really strong. And it's just also like a free inherent special summon that's not once per turn to special. So like you can special it, attack over Ecclesia, and then main phase 2 like special summon it again if you have another one. And you can actually use its effect to loop and get back another red layer from the graveyard to your hand. Then we're playing triple Durandal, which is really strong. Just consistency. I played double DDR in this case and triple Living Fossil as you see here, and I definitely think this was a mistake. I think I should have definitely played triple DDR and it had more applications than Living Fossil. Living Fossil guarantees like combo, but when you use it early to extend, it becomes really awkward because you need to get a DDR in that instance, and so that it just makes Living Fossil really awkward to extend with. And instead it makes it a combo piece, and I thought that it would be really good, but it turns out that the DDR came up at the whole tournament so much more than like the Living Fossil. Phoenix Blade, I think one of the most broken equips in the game. Heritage for the consistency. Monster Reborn, Rhoda, and then Smoke Grenade just like round out the deck. In terms of the extra deck, everything is pretty much the same as you guys have seen before, except I took out access code and played a second fiber. The second fiber being that like if you open up Red Layer, you can actually do a single fiber combo with Red Layer and like I guess a Plague Spreader, but you can't do that with Fire Flame. That's why like Red Layer is technically better, because you can go special Red Layer, normal summon Despot and play, special summon Red Layer, normal summon Plague Spreader, play, and I think that's really important. So that's why I play double fiber. Essentially, you want to go the way you do double fiber combo is you go fiber, summon Despot, summon Despot, make Linkross, make Formula, draw 1, make Metal, bring back Formula, make Fiber, and then after that make Auroradon. The main reason being that you want a Living Fossil back, a level 2 tuner, being Formula Synchron. The side deck was essentially the trap decks would be cited in 5 cards, 3 Lightning Storm, Pank, Feather Duster, and then Reboot. I thought 6 cards was strong enough. And then essentially going first, I wanted to slide out the Gamma package because I'm going first, put in Tactics, and then put in an Imperm. And then going second, I slide in the 3 Imperm, the 3 Nibiru. So that gives me like the 74.18% chance of seeing 1 hand trap, and then around a 30-something% chance to see 2 hand traps going second in a 40-card list. And so this was pretty much my deck for the event, guys. But if you guys wanted to know like some of the changes I make, this is like the 2.0 version. So I don't think it updated for some reason, but here's what I would do. I would take out a Living Fossil, put in definitely a second DDR. And then after that, I would definitely bump the Oliver count 2, 3. And then I'll just cut out a Red Layer from 3 to 2, and then just bump out Oliver 2, 3. And I think this is definitely probably like the list that I would have played. The main reason that the difference being that I take out the Gamma out of the main deck. Essentially coming to the terms with the fact that like I think most decks are playing through 1 hand trap anyways, so you want to have at least 2 chances of seeing 2 hand traps, and so I figured siding in hand traps would be better instead of main decking 8 to 9 cards of hand traps that are potentially just going to brick your deck, and then you can't combo if you go first, right? So I think that's pretty much it with it. I mean, I think the other option was to play my 60 card list. I think going back, and then the 60 card list would have had at least 15 hand traps in the main deck, and I would have, because I lost like basically 5 out of 7 RPS, basically I think 5 out of 7 is around, we can just run that math, it should be around like 70%. Yeah, basically 70%, as you saw right here. I lost RPS in the tournament, so I think what I probably should have done was played a lot more hand traps, played the 60 card variant, and which is still like very consistent as well, and it's definitely a regret of mine. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for I guess the tournament report, as well as like a small learning from your losses kind of like lesson in terms of like just, you know, keeping in check your emotions as you get tilted and have your opponents like just infinitely like hand trap you to death. I think definitely there are some things that are outside of your control, but you do the best that you can. So if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely consider giving this video a thumbs up, share this video, and definitely let me know in your comment section below your experience with getting sacked, as well as also check out the sponsors for this channel, as well as Luxury Gaming. They're going to be releasing a really cool tournament for LCS 7, so definitely stay tuned for that. TCG Player, definitely go check out my TCG Player code in the description box below if you're interested in purchasing any cards such as the Infernoble deck that you see on the screen. As well as Imperium Duelist for being a sponsor of the channel. Pack 10 for 10% off. They make really amazing mats, play mats, deck boxes, and sleeves. So definitely go check them out if you need any of those goods. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.